When I was 11 years old, I decided I wanted to be an architect. I loved design and I was very good at math, so architecture became the career path I followed for the next 8 years until I took an urban planning course and became enticed with a whole new idea. We learned about a special man named Daniel Burnham. Who was Daniel Burnham, you ask? He was a chief influential designer of the city we all know and love, Chicago. I loved learning about his design plans so much that I ended up changing my major from architecture to urban planning, which enticed me more because it impacted a larger picture rather than just one building. Before we talk about the design of Chicago, let's talk about one of the greatest events that led to it. The Great Chicago Fire burned from Sunday, October 8th to early Tuesday, October 10th, 1871. The fire killed 300 people and destroyed about 3.3 miles. Most of that was part of the city's central business district. Rebuilding Chicago took years and decades of planning to make it what it is today. Daniel Burnham was born in New York in 1846. He became both an architect and urban planner. He took the leading role in the design of not just Chicago, but other major cities as well. Burnham was the architect of one of the first American skyscrapers, the Masonic Temple building in Chicago, which was torn down in 1939. He had big plans, and one of his most famous quotes states, "Make no little plans, for they have no magic to stir men's blood." Much of his work was based on the classical style of Greece and Rome. One of the greatest events that shaped Chicago was the World's Fair of 1893. Burnham and three of his colleagues, Charles McKim, Frederick Law Olmsted, and Augustus St. Gaudens, came together to design the exposition. The plan provided for the extension of the mall beyond the Washington Monument to a new Lincoln Memorial and a Pantheon that eventually materialized as a Jefferson Memorial. The plan also involved a strong environmental aspect, which required the reclamation of land from the Potomac River. This plan involved a significant reclamation of land from swamp and the relocation of an existing railroad station on the site. This was later replaced by Burnham's Union Station design. Shortly after the World's Fair, the first comprehensive plan for the city of Chicago was started in 1906 and published in 1909. Burnham and Edward Bennett prepared the Plan of Chicago, which laid out plans for the future of the city. The plan had proposals for the lakefront and river and made sure that every resident was within walking distance from a park. Burnham envisioned Chicago as being a Paris on the prairie with French-inspired construction. However, only parts of that were actually implemented. The plan did set the standard for urban design and anticipated future urban growth. This movement was called the City Beautiful movement and flourished in the 18 and 1900s. This movement's intent was to introduce beautification and monumental design for cities. This paved the way for the redesign of many U.S. cities. As a result of his service, in 1910, Burnham was appointed a member and the first chairman of the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts. Burnham served in the commission until his death in 1912. Chicago today is still growing, and much of what we see today has been influenced by Burnham's plan. Today the city is looking to become much more sustainable, which includes the addition of green bicycle lanes, improved lakefront plans, improving our human and social capital, and regional mobility. Chicago is a world-class city that has had a ton of labor put into its design and function. There is still much to see happen, and I can't wait to see where we go next.